Hey everyone, it's Lisa with Are You My Cousin? And it's time for a wonderful chat about MyHeritage and DNA with Daniel Horowitz from MyHeritage. Um, Daniel, thank you so much for joining us. We'll let people kind of start to come in and find us for just a moment or two. Feel free to let us know when you join us where you're watching from. That's always a really fun thing for me. I don't know. I think all genealogists like locations and maps and all that good stuff. So I'm here in my office in North Carolina, and Daniel, you are in Israel, correct?
Yes, at this time, because it's already 8 p.m. here in Israel, I am home. I'm already home after a long day of work. But always a pleasure to be able to be here and to talk about genealogy and DNA and welcome everybody. Yeah,
Oh,
thank you.
well,
Thank you for being here.
you are welcome. Up, we already have Minnesota in the house, so that is fabulous. Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Yes, so here in the U.S., for those of you who are watching for the U.S., we have Thanksgiving this week, and so I know things will be quieting down a little bit, probably in the genealogy talking world. But you know what? There's going to be a lot of genealogy happening around the Thanksgiving table. I am sure, as it should. In other words, get your oral history, guys. That's my big thing. So while we were waiting for people to come in, if we had not met before, if you're just finding me, I am Lisa Listen. I am the creator and the genealogy researcher at Are You My Cousin? And my goal is to help you find your ancestors, grow that family tree, but not be overwhelmed in the process. Because you don't have to be overwhelmed. It is possible. So just to let you know, you can do this without being overwhelmed. Hey, Anne's here from Knoxville, Tennessee. Wonderful, wonderful. I love Knoxville. It's a beautiful town, beautiful city. So while you guys, I just wanted to also take this opportunity because it is Thanksgiving week to let you guys and let my readers and followers know how much I truly, truly am thankful for you and your support because it means the world to me. This is why I do this. I really enjoy helping you guys out, and I do appreciate the support that you guys showing up and on the website and on the YouTube channel. So thank you so much. I hope everybody has a wonderful time with your family this coming week. Okay, so let's jump into it. We have, as I said, Daniel from um, MyHeritage, and Daniel is the genealogy researcher extraordinaire. That's what
Genealogy expert.
expert. He's a genealogy expert. Um, and is certainly obviously in all things MyHeritage. And so if you guys checked your emails from me this week, or this morning, you would have seen that you MyHeritage is offering DNA test kits at the lowest price ever. So if you are in need of DNA testing, if you are trying to start a new DNA test project, if you're going to see family members that you haven't tested yet but are on your list to test, now's the time to get the DNA test kits. So I thought this would be a great time to have Daniel come over and tell us a little bit more about the MyHeritage DNA and some of the highlights there and some of the best practices. So we will get started with that. And I'm going to go ahead and put, while he's talking, a link to the email that I sent out about the sale that's going on. And just full transparency here, guys, I am an affiliate for MyHeritage. So just want to put that out there. All right, Daniel, I'm going to let you
and
take it
and
away.
I'm not from the sales department, but let me tell you that maybe it's exactly the right time now in Thanksgiving to order those DNA kits, as you said, Lisa, for other family members. If you're starting like a family project or you want to test one branch, and you can order those to be shipped directly to your relatives. And it's kind of a pre-Christmas gift. And believe me, it's the
Absolutely.
lowest price and it will not come back.
Yeah, I
Not
don't
even
think
in
I've never
conferences.
seen it.
Yeah, not even
Yeah,
in conferences we sell that low. Yeah, so
no,
take
I've not seen it
advantage
that
of
low either.
that. And as you said, Lisa, I'm more than happy to show everybody what they are getting with the DNA on MyHeritage.
Mhm.
So I have prepared here a series of slides because The main problem that I have with DNA is privacy, and MyHeritage takes privacy very seriously. So all the slides and all the images that you will see are either privatized or name has been changed, and nobody was hurt during the creation of this presentation. So what do you get with the DNA match on MyHeritage? You get besides the ethnicity estimation and the genetic groups, which I'm not going to get into it because that's really not why I did a DNA test. This is all about matching, and we will give you theories of family relativities, the share smart matches that you may have with your DNA match, ancestral surnames and places between you and your DNA match, that share DNA matches, which is, I think, the biggest thing on the DNA match, and then the pedigree chart, the share ethnicities, and the share DNA segments. But let's go right into it, and you will find your DNA results under the DNA menu, and you can see an overview and probably understand better why I'm not that crazy for the ethnicity. Like being 88% Ashkenazi Jew, I knew that, okay? And I didn't have to do a DNA test for that. But the matches is really what I am looking for. Those people that share different pieces of my DNA and that were arrived to me and to everybody else from a common ancestor. And that is what sets up how we are related one to each other. So different ways to get to the DNA matches. And in here, probably same as me and same as Lisa, you are having thousands and thousands of DNA matches, and this definitely is overwhelming. So let me give you a few tips of how to manage those great amount of matches. And by the way, if you don't have enough, no worries, because every Sunday, MyHeritage will send you an email and will update this list of matches that you have. Because new DNA kits are being processed at the lab, and other people are uploading their DNA kits to MyHeritage, and you will get new matches. So the first thing you should do is try to filter them. And the first filter is actually the most important one, because here you can say that you want to see only those that has a theory of family relativity. And I will start explaining a little bit about this. It's a path that MyHeritage thinks is how you are related to another person. And we will see a detailed view in just 1 second. But very important that if you filter your matches by this and you see no matches, they are not going to appear next week, because the theory of family relativity is something that MyHeritage run every 3 to 4 months right now. But then you have smart matches, and I will explain what those are in just one more minute, or those who share surnames on or places with you, or even have a family tree. Now, you need to understand this. If you have a DNA sample, you should, and I'm using the word should for not using the word must, have a family tree together with the DNA sample. And basically it's because this will really help you find out how you are related to the other people. And if everybody has a good family tree over there, at least the most amount of ancestors that you can, then it will be very easy for you to understand how you are related. So the first filter is all about the tree details. The next one is the relationship, and MyHeritage divides your DNA matches into three. The close family, which probably, if you are not adopted, if you are not looking for your biological family, probably this is people that you already know, and probably you even test them. Then you have the extended family, which is people that you may find easier ways to find how you are related, and the distant cousins that it's probably everybody else. Or by location, if you want to know all your matches that are in a specific place, ethnicities, genetic groups. And here you can see that sometimes we can be very accurate, like in a specific city like Oslo or Rio de Janeiro. And yes, if you want to find those people related to you that are also in that specific city or place, that are useful. And the last filter is the labels. And this was one of the latest things that we recently released. And if you use them properly, it will help you very much finding your way across your matches. So I will tell you a little bit about that in one more second. Okay, what else you're seeing here? You are seeing the ancestral names that you're sharing with each person. And that only means that the chances that I am related to Brian through, in this case, the Cohens or the Singers, is bigger because we both have them in the family tree. And then the same applies to the places. And remember that people didn't travel that much about probably 80 or 100 years ago. So it makes sense if all our ancestors are in the same place, that this is how we are related to each other. And yes, let's go with the labels. You will notice that in the upper left corner of every match, you have this checkbox. And whenever you click on it, the label manager is going to appear to your right. In here, you will be able to create up to 36 labels with different colors and 100 characters for each of those labels. My suggestion, the way I use it and I find easiest to use it, is to use keywords like paternal, maternal, great grandfather, great grandmother. If you can refine those common matches up till that grade, and then the last name. So I picked my paternal side, my Horowitz, and I picked the color blue. And then I started marking all the matches that I see, and I know that they belong to this family because cousins or second cousins that I know coming from that branch. And whenever I hit apply, the label is going to be applied and shown next to the name of the person. And then I can use now the labels and say, okay, I want to see only my Horowitzes or only my grandmother Polak, for example. And I will list only those specific matches. And I'm going to give you one more hint on how to label your matches accurately. But you can also use the star, which is like a predefined label, an extra label that we give you. And the way I use it is whenever I am researching a specific branch of the family, I mark them temporarily as a favorites, and then I can go to the label and bring them to me much faster in that way. At any point in time, of course, that you can go back to the label manager, you can edit the name because probably the paternal Horowitzes are going to be divided into two, my paternal grandfather and my paternal grandmother. Those are the Horowitzes and the Singers, by the way. And of course, that you can also delete the label. Just bear in mind that whenever you delete a label, those labels are going to be deleted from the matches. The matches are going to stay there, but they are not going to have that label anymore. One more thing that I would like to point out here is this balloon that you will have on the left side that will open a note section. And in some places, we will bring you those notes for you to use. The way I do it is I use it like a log. So any important mention that I need, if I need to contact this DNA or I already contacted them, or any pending acts that I have. And whenever I save it, that balloon is going to be purple. So now I can always see that there is something else that I already did or not with this person. I will suggest you always, after that you have validated all the facts and you see that this is really a match or not, to try to contact the person. And if you're lucky, you will have two options: either to contact the donor, as I call it, the person that gave the DNA, or you will be able to contact, or for sure you're going to be able to contact the administrator. And the difference is that I may be managing many DNA kits, some of them from family that didn't care to be part of it and be invited to share the results and to be in contact with other people. And others, I am the only point of contact for you. Now, why I suggest you to try to contact both if you have the option? Because you never know who is going to answer first and who is going to give you proper information. Maybe the relative doesn't know, and maybe the admin doesn't know. Maybe the relative is on vacation. Maybe the admin is just a genealogy crazy like me that works 24/7, and we're always checking our emails, and doesn't matter if it's 3 o'clock in the morning for me, I will be answering that call. Okay, so it's time to review a little bit more in depth of your DNA matches. And it really doesn't matter if you already have a theory of family relativity and you click over there, or you click that purple button that says review DNA match. The first section that you should see in this very, like, extremely long page is the theory of family relativity. So if you have it and you click over there, you will see it. And what you're looking at here is the path, as I said before, how MyHeritage thinks or found that you are connected with your DNA match, in this case, Brian Jansen. Okay. Now, this is very nice. And according to this, I am Brian's third cousin once removed. And you can see how it goes up to a common ancestors, like a third time great grandfather. But as a hardcore genealogist, I want to see all the details, and MyHeritage will allow you to see all the details here by clicking on this view full theory. I'm not going to go there now, but over there you will be able to see all the jumps that MyHeritage is doing, starting from you and from your family tree, and then connecting other family trees. And at the moment, we have like 86 billions of them, and records, which we have only 18.8 billion of historical records in our database. And through all that, we are finding paths, and we get to Brian's, hopefully Brian's family tree. And that is, again, my call to everybody to make sure that you have a family tree over there, because then it's going to be easier, again, for the technology to contact or connect your tree to his or hers other tree. And then you will be able to evaluate in deep and in details how these connections were made. Now, I'm going to start scrolling down because there is a lot of other information in this page that is very relevant. The second section, at least again in the best case scenario that I have created for you here, is smart matches. Now, for smart matches has nothing to do with DNA. It means individuals in my family tree that are also in the other person's family tree. So why we have them here? Actually, very easy. Because if I know that I'm a DNA match with Brian, and I do know that I have smart matches in my tree, meaning Ronald appears both in my tree and also in Brian's tree, chances are that that is how we are connected. That's the branch that we have in common, and that will make it easier for me to understand how we are related. So make sure that you check your smart matches, but don't go away from this page. Okay, you could, but that will distract you. That's shiny objects that we have in the middle. But make sure that you review your matches and you make sure that you have them here. And you may have also matches both from your paternal and your maternal side, and that only means that you may be connected with Brian in two different ways. Let's keep scrolling down because the next section is the ancestral surnames, meaning last names that appears both in my tree and also in Brian's tree. Well, with the Cohen, definitely it's not going to be a huge success because this is a very common last name. But if you have less common last names, probably that is how you are related. Now, remember that last names normally pass from fathers to kids, okay, sons and daughters. So you need to check which one is this last name and from which branch is coming, and try to connect that branch to Brian. If I keep scrolling down, the next section will be places. And this is really more useful because, as I said before, people didn't travel that much. So grooms and brides were picked from a very close by area. If not the same town or city, the town next or the close by one. So if I have people and you can see that pins are very close between my tree and Brian's tree. And here I have a tip for you, especially if you are Eastern European like me. Remember that borders change. So try always to use the location of the current place. What do I mean by this? My family, as you can see, is from the southeast of Ukraine, but when they were born, it was actually Romania. Now, in the tree, I put Ukraine, as you can see, because today is Ukraine. And if I would go and buy a ticket to visit my ancestral place, yeah, I will be a little bit troubled today, but hopefully I will be able to do that very soon. I need to buy a plane ticket to Ukraine. Not to talk like if you're coming from Yugoslavia, that doesn't exist anymore. So try always to use the current place. And by comparing those places, you will find if your DNA match has common ancestors from that same place. Now, let's go to the next one, which is really my preference, the DNA shared matches. What does this mean? Well, you can clearly see that I am a match with Brian, but it's also saying here that I match this lady here, which is my mother. And also Brian matches my mother. So I can already tell you almost 100% that Brian is connected to me through my maternal line. So this is the perfect time and place to click on those labels and bring that label manager, either create a new label or use an already created label and start labeling those matches as maternal one. Now, not only my mother, but if my mother is in this group, and it's better if you have cousins that you know that they are related to your maternal or even one of your grandparents here, because you will be able to apply those labels more accurate and start labeling all those matches as common matches from my maternal side. And yes, sometimes you will have also here mixed matches, both maternal and paternal. But again, remember that less than 10 generations back, probably the ancestors were related or even the same, meaning that the common ancestor is closer to both your parents. Okay, now one more thing that you can do here is to see how many people are in the family tree with this person. Why this is important? Because if this is a family tree with 3,000 individuals, chances are that it's a good tree. It has a lot of information and much easier to find the connection. If it's a family tree with 3, 6, 10, 12 people, well, probably the person is just starting to it or didn't care to put a lot of information over there. It's going to be more difficult. What else do you see here? You see the triangulated segments, meaning the exact pieces that you share with this cousin. And you can click in that icon or that button at the right, and we will open the chromosome browser and we'll show you exactly which of those pieces are the ones that you are sharing in common. And then I'm going to mention also in a few more minutes, we have a better chromosome browser because you're able to select up to 7 individuals and view and compare all those little pieces. But let me go to another very recently improved feature that we added here in the shared DNA matches. And that is the capability of sorting those matches depending either on the total shared DNA or the amount of DNA shared with you or with the other person. Why that is important? Okay, let me show you that with an example. You're seeing here that on my side, it seems that Tara should be first, at least before Jacob, because she is 3% or 209 centimorgans match with me, and Jacob is only 2.9. But because Jacob has 3.1, with Brian, he's actually occupying the second place. But if I will be sorting this by the shared DNA matches with me, I will see first or ordered those who are closer to me. And we know that the more the better, or the more the merrier, because the more DNA we have in common, it means that the relationship is closer. So I need to go further back in my family tree to find that common ancestor. So take you advantage of this new sorting capability in order to understand better your shared DNA matches. If I will keep going down, you will find the pedigree chart, both of your tree and your relatives tree, or your DNA matches tree. The idea here is to be able to find that common ancestor that you should have. And it shouldn't be less than probably 6 or 7 up to 10 generations maximum. But depending also on your research and the research of the other person, it should be right here in this area. You may find that the common ancestor is coming from these gray areas, and you will need to do a lot of chromosome browsers and a lot of labeling to detect cousins that are coming from this further away ancestors. But it's worthwhile to know how you are related to the person. And I have to admit, in my own case, I managed to go back and to connect, or to find out how I am connected to a DNA match that it's 8 generations back. And the trick, I'm going to tell you, very straightforward, is two big and good researched family trees. Okay, DNA cannot go alone without the family tree research. Okay, let's keep going down. The next section is the ethnicities and genetic groups. I really didn't use this part until MyHeritage came with the genetic groups, because again, uh, having a match with Ashkenazi Jew, you see over there the area of the world that it happens, like it's half of the European countries over there, so it really doesn't make a lot of sense. But if I can select here a genetic group that will pinpoint my origins into a specific city or town or place in Europe, then I will have better chances to understand how we are related. And in this case, I actually can go to that area, to the southern Ukraine, northern Romania, Austro-Hungarian Empire, with my genetic group, and find out how I am related to Brian. And the very last part of this page is a chromosome browser. Why I say a chromosome browser? Because we have two. I already said that we have one to many, but this is a one-to-one, meaning that all these purple areas here are the sections of those chromosomes that I am sharing with Brian. You can also see what are the non-share pieces, and you will notice in a few cases and a few chromosomes that there are certain areas we are not checking. And I do know that this question comes up regularly, like, are you checking the same areas of all, like other companies out there? The answer is pretty much yes. All the companies out there are checking the same, let's say 95 to 99% of that chromosome parts or that DNA. Now, remember that MyHeritage has an autosomal DNA test, meaning we're not looking at chromosome 23, which is the chromosome in charge of the gender, the X and the Y, as you may have heard them or know them. If you have done, or you're thinking doing what it's called the Y-DNA test or a mitochondrial DNA test, and those tests are very specific to the paternal side or the maternal side, that is not compatible with the MyHeritage test. The MyHeritage test looked at the autosomal part, the rest of the 22 chromosomes, and the advantage on this is that you have little pieces of all your ancestors there, not only your mother's side, not only your father's side. So every person, every direct ancestor that you have up to 10 generations back is represented in your DNA. So that is why you don't have a 23 pair right there. And if you are into numbers, you can go over those pieces and you will be able to see the exact positions, the exact snippets, the size of the segment, and all the details that you will need for this. Now, I mentioned already the chromosome browser one-to-many, and you will find it under the DNA menu, DNA tools, It's right here. And this, as I said, will allow you to pick up to 7 individuals from your list of matches. And if you apply the labels correctly and you pick the right people, you may be even able to find the exact pieces of the chromosomes or the DNA that identified a specific family. And then you know that everybody else who is sharing that piece is probably, very probably, coming from the same branch. The other tool that I would like to comment now today is the auto cluster. And the other auto cluster is just another way of looking at your matches. Groups by common matches. Remember that page where I was with Brian and my mother and my other cousins? Well, all those are going to be in the same cluster. And by analyzing those clusters, you will be able also here to detect how you are related to your DNA matches. And if you know in a cluster, for example, that you have 10 individuals that you know are descendants of the same great grandfather, plus another two who you are not sure how you are related to, well, I can tell you it is related through your great grandfather because they are all going to be in the same cluster. Another question that I find a lot regarding the auto clusters is if they change. And the answer is yes, they will change every week. That is actually why the auto cluster is not generated on the website, but sent to you by email. You will be able to open it and look at it at your browser. But I will suggest you to go and generate an auto cluster every week with the new matches that are coming in, because some matches are coming in, others are going to be left out. There is a maximum amount of individuals that we're using in the auto cluster. And then you can always go back in time. Well, no, not in that way, but in this way, DNA way. The auto cluster will allow you to see the relationships with other people, and you will be able to create and have list of people and add more people to those lists every week with the auto cluster. Now, finally, I would like to give you a little bit of guidance on how to best manage your, hopefully, thousands of DNA matches that you're going to get. First, remember, filter and sort your DNA matches, as I show you. Review the relevant information, the summary that we give you for each of the matches. Use the different labels to mark them, or the balloons, or the stars, or in any way that you want to make sure which ones are the most relevant ones. And then when you go in, make sure to review a theory of family relativity that if exists, your smart matches, your ancestral surnames and places, and most important, the shared DNA matches. Review the auto clusters, save them in your emails, on your computers, go often and generate those and analyze those. And finally, and this will really be the good time to contact as many of the people that you can, both the donor or the administrator. Explain why you're contacting them. They not necessarily know who you are. They don't necessarily spot it that you are a match for them. So try to explain, like MyHeritage said, that we have a match in that we're matching in common with this kid. If you're managing a different DNA kid, let the person know. Let the person know details about you, and hopefully you will get a positive answer and you will gain more relatives there. Lisa, I have not seen the chat, but I am pretty sure people have placed questions over
Mhm.
there. And if not, this is the time for all of you to write your questions, and I will be more than happy to answer.
Absolutely. So we do have one question that came in, and this question is: I uploaded my 23andMe to MyHeritage. Is there any difference? Is it any different if I test directly with the company?
Well, usually I will say no, but people prove me wrong. There is kind of between 1 and 2% difference, meaning you will be matching the same people. But because not all the companies are looking into 100% of the same DNA, we may tell you that with an imported kid, you're sharing, let's say, 9.5% of your DNA, and with a MyHeritage DNA kid, we can go like 9.8 or 9.3.
Okay.
So if it's that important for you, yes, definitely. And especially this week, I would take the opportunity to buy a DNA kit and test with MyHeritage.
Yes. Yes. And I'll put that link in the chat for you guys again, in case you
Mhm.
guys missed it when you came in. So if you have another question, feel free to pop it in. I am actually, I'm so glad that you answered that question, because Daniel, I didn't realize that there was a slight difference. So that's good to know,
Yes,
the difference.
it,
And it
like
makes
it's
sense.
minimal, but yes,
Mhm.
it is there.
It makes really good sense. And I love how you, at the very beginning, where you were talking about labeling your matches and how you would label like paternal and maternal and then put the surname. To me, that just makes, because I would never remember, okay, maybe I want all my colors to be, I wouldn't remember the colors off the top of my head. So that's really helpful to have that cue there as well. I think that's a huge time saver. At least it is when I'm sorting things.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Now, I have to clarify one thing, like
Mhm.
especially for those who are managing multiple DNA kits. You saw my mother, I am managing her kid as well. My labels, the labels that apply to my kid, are not going to be shared or applied also to her DNA kid, which,
Okay.
if you ask me, is a bummer, because I would love to be able to say, okay, all those labels that I apply to my mother match, which are my maternal ones, I want
Mhm.
also to apply to her. But at the moment, and I will stress at the moment, because we have feedback from you users out there, and we love to hear your feedbacks. People are requesting that feature, and we're thinking how to do it.
Hmm.
So
Oh, good.
it will take a little bit of time, and I probably will use the same colors. It will make sense. It will make easier for you to use for every DNA kit the same colors for maternal, paternal, grandparents, leads on your label. It will take a couple of minutes probably for you to generate all those labels, but believe me, it's a time saver next month, or whenever you come back to evaluate new DNA matches, and suddenly you see a new match that you have no idea how you're related to, but when you go in, you review the DNA match and you see that the common or the shared DNA matches have already labels, you can say, oh, okay, now I understand that this person has to come from my grandmother or grandparent whatsoever.
Right, right. And that's half the battle when you can get started that way. So we have a couple more questions that came in. So Liza
Hmm.
said she uploaded her ancestry DNA results to MyHeritage, and that the ethnicity on MyHeritage shows 1.7% African, but no other company shows that. And is it really there? I think she has a
Okay.
small percent of Asian as well.
So ethnicities are a totally different animal, okay?
Yeah, they are.
Because
They really are.
each company has what I call its own ruler to measure the ethnicity. Okay, it's not like more science as the chromosome browser or the pieces of DNA. So we have a ruler that it's totally different and proprietary of MyHeritage from other companies. And sometimes there are those differences. Our ruler is based on what we call the founders population, individuals that have family trees on MyHeritage with many generations in one place.
Mhm.
And also some of our ethnicities are very unique. MyHeritage is the only one, for example, that has 5 different ethnicities only for Jews, which most of the companies over there will have Ashkenazi and Sephardic. We have Yemenites, and we have also Ethiopians and Middle East. So there is going to be a small difference on the ethnicity estimation that we will provide you.
Yeah, I have the same thing, Liza. Exactly. I showed a little bit of African ancestry in there as well that nobody else shows, and exactly, I've seen it on other. It does change from company to
Mhm.
company. So somebody wanted to know if she should test with more than one company's test kit, and why or why not.
Well,
Kind
I
of
would
easy to
say
say.
yes.
Yes.
Being a genealogist, okay, yes, I have to admit. Same with your family tree, by the way. You should have it
Mhm.
definitely on MyHeritage, but probably also in other places because you never know where the matches and where the connections are going to appear. Now, I have to admit also, and you can check social media and the news and the press out there, the amount of matches that you are going to get with the rest of the world out of the United States are going to be significantly bigger with MyHeritage.
Mhm.
MyHeritage is selling DNA kits almost in every country out there. So you have people around the world testing and buying MyHeritage DNA kits. Okay. So, yeah, take that in mind whenever you're doing genealogy in general.
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely. And wanting to catch, and that's exactly why I've tested with MyHeritage is because I want to capture more of the outside the US test results as well. And plus I just love the tools. The tools are really the tools are really, I understand. I mean, I understand DNA, and I'm not an expert in the DNA part of genealogy. That's why I usually go to experts like you and Mary Everly for that kind of thing. But I know enough about it, and I can use those tools. Just really can get me a lot further than if I didn't have the MyHeritage tools. So,
That's the
yes,
idea, to create easy tools for
yeah,
you.
and to get me moving that much further down. Let's see. Amy had a question. She's saying one of her biggest problems is that she'll match, but then nobody has a really good tree out there. The tree might have, like you said, 3 people on it. And she wanted to know
Yes.
if she could upload a tree to MyHeritage. So yes, I know that you can upload a tree. In fact, Amy, I will follow up after we get off, and I'll put in the comments I have a link to a video. I actually made a video on how to upload a tree
Mm-hmm.
to MyHeritage. So there's one on my YouTube channel, and I will get you that when we are done.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
yeah. Somebody said they had. Now this is a term I've not heard before, and I apologize because I'm going to totally mispronounce. This person's name is Wanaka, I think. It says I've crypto Jews on the family tree along with Ashkenazi and Sephardic. I'm not sure what that term. Where is the
Uh,
crypto Jewish
yes,
population?
crypto Jews are descendants of those Jews that escape Spain and Portugal
Oh,
after the
okay.
Inquisition.
Okay. Okay.
There are big communities of them in the US, in Albuquerque, at least, I know, and New Mexico as well.
Mhm.
And yes, they are sharing the same DNA. We
Okay.
don't have an ethnicity that will identify them yet, but like if you know them and if you see crypto Jews matching you, you will be very easily identify them, and you can apply a label to them
Nice.
as well.
Oh, that's great. Well, I think we've got one more question on DNA, and then before I let you go too quick, I want to hear about the new AI. Anyway, so the last question, Amy wanted to know if the MyHeritage show would show her German ancestry better than one of the other DNA sites. And I'm
I
thinking
will
it's
have
more
to
just,
say yes.
yeah, I think just because
Definitely.
you do have such a larger out of the US database.
And we're very strong selling for many years already in Eastern Europe, like Poland, German, Scandinavian
Good.
countries, in the Netherlands, England. So yes, definitely. Uh, if you have German ancestors, your place is MyHeritage.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, one quick question, Daniel. On DNA here, let me bring us
hmm
full. I'll take the thing down.
I just
When it
wanted
comes
to
to DNA,
say, Lisa, 1 second,
yeah.
and mostly for people who are probably viewing this as a recording and
hmm
cannot ask the questions. Those two URLs that I had on my slide are the
hmm
place to go to ask your questions and to find the answers. One is the frequent asked questions section, and the
hmm
other one is the knowledge base. So we can also put it on the description of the video later on.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
myheritage.com/help or
hmm
education.myheritage.com.
I'll go in. Yes, I'll go in
Okay,
afterwards and pop that into the chat
the
box in
chat.
description so people will see it. Thanks for that reminder.
Okay,
Liza was asking about France as well. Again, um, yes, would be the same answer as for
yeah.
Germany
hmm
there as well. So, do people in Europe do they test as frequently, or people around the world, as the people in the U.S.? I know oftentimes, we get a lot of U.S. matches, obviously,
Yeah.
but are they testing as
Today,
frequently?
today the answer is yes.
Good,
At
good,
the
good, good.
beginning, a couple of years ago, they were scared. They were not sure. They have their concerns. Today they understood.
hmm
They learned about the privacy policies and especially with MyHeritage, how MyHeritage deals with DNA. Our pledge not to share DNA with anybody, no third parties, no partners, no research institutions, insurance company, nothing. So today it's more used in Europe and other places of the world as it was a couple of years ago.
Okay, that's good to know. All right, we just have a few minutes left, but tell us about the AI, the new AI.
Well, yes, MyHeritage focuses in many areas. One of the areas that we have been doing it lately is on pictures. And we provided tools to improve, to enhance, to colorize, to animate. The latest one was even to allow your ancestors to speak and to tell their own stories based on the information on the family tree. So now we decided to give you a treat and allow you to upload. You will need between 10 and 20 pictures. And I know that for some people, it's kind of a little bit of awe. And those pictures should be only pictures of yourself, just as you are watching us now. And MyHeritage will take you back in time. And yes, I have here probably a few of my best ones. Okay. And will put your face into these historical pictures. And sometimes it's not perfect, but others, the results are really amazing. You
Oh,
can see me here as an ancient Greek. And I can tell you also that I think Roman philosopher was also a very good one. And listen again, you have dozens of different themes, and we are actually adding new ones. So if you
oh,
already
good.
tried that during the weekend, you are just among the 800,000. Yeah, that number blow my mind. We
Oh,
released this on Thursday, and by
Yeah.
the weekend we already had that amount of images created, 600,000 shared on social media and with family and friends. And we are putting more and more of those themes. And for each theme, you will get 8 specific images that you can use and see very nicely. I actually change not only my social media profiles, but I changed my picture for my bio on my lectures. Okay. So, yeah, my heritage is all on having fun. But more important than having fun, this is really a way to encourage and attract other people to history.
Hmm.
If we can imagine that this is how my ancestors should look like, or if that can amuse my kids, and then ask me like, what is I don't know, the U.S. Civil War, which is something that I don't have any connections to it. It's an opportunity to do a little bit of teaching history and bringing people closer to genealogy and to family. So that is one of the other goals that MyHeritage has. And if we can do it in a fun way, why not?
I agree. I agree.
And
And I mean, it really it's like you said, it sparks those conversations. And I mean, I think that's what we need to do. If you can spark those family conversations around genealogy, it does help us grow those connections more and bring, share that history with folks. So I think it's a lot of fun.
now let me tell you one more thing, and this I can tell you: hurry up and do your profiles, okay?
Mhm.
Because right now is free,
Yes.
but I already know that it's going to be only for a very limited time. I already heard at the office that they are thinking if it's time already to close or to
Mm.
limit it more or to start charging for it, which after certain amount of tries and themes and pictures, you will be prompt to pay.
Mhm.
It's a really a one-time payment, which is very low. But for now, you can do, I think it's about 300 or 400 pictures for free. So
That's
this is the best time to go and have fun with it. And then, take it to your Thanksgiving dinner or to your family gathering and showcase it on your profile, social media, and be honored with that. Brag about that.
I agree. I agree. Well, thank you so much, Dan. Let me pull that let me pull that down so we can see you again. Thank you so much for tacking this on to the end of your day, your full work day, and joining us to share with us about MyHeritage DNA. And I'm excited to explore. Every time I get off, I always get back into. I'm like, okay, I'll be on MyHeritage for a while now, going back through those, trying all that stuff out. Because some of it I've known about, but I forget about in the busyness of things. So I'm super excited. So thank you so much. And
My
guys, so
pleasure.
you are welcome. So definitely go back, check your emails from me today if you're looking for that deal. I've got the links in the chat for you guys. I'll have it in the description for under the videos shortly. And once we're over, and have a fantastic Thanksgiving holiday for those of you who are here in the US and have the US Thanksgiving. And we will see you soon. So bye guys. Have a
Bye
great,
bye.
great day.